Thank you very much. Good. Okay, it is afternoon. This is Public Health and Minority Health Disparities Subcommittee. It is Friday. We have a work group. We have 5 bills on our schedule today. And so we're just going to we're going to get started. We're going to start with House Bill 290. This is the Office of the Chief Medical Examiner, disclosure of autopsy information and maintenance of investigative database. I want to start with this bill because the more we have worked on this bill, I think the less comfort we have with it. We've done some really good work with the department and with the press and with the UCLA. Oh my gosh, ACLU. You can tell where we are in session. My apologies. With the ACLU, but the reality is we all know why we are here, and that we are grappling with the results of some very serious issues with the previous medical examiner in the office. And we recognize that the department wants and needs guidance going forward. However, what we do in this moment will also inform the public view and define the reputation of this office going forward. So we want to be very thoughtful, and I don't want to rush this, and I don't want to rush our members on this. So here is what I am proposing and asking, because I do think that we've done some really good work. But I would like to bring together a stakeholders work group after cross, not today, because we need to be thoughtful about who needs to be on that work group. I know that some of our members have already raised their hand to be part of that work. So we're not going to discuss this bill today, but I did want to go on the record because we have been discussing it, and I didn't want it to simply disappear from the public record, that we are going to continue this work, but we want to give ourselves the appropriate time to really understand the issue and make sure that the recommendations and the guidance that we're providing to the department make sense and for both the state and the public interest. So I don't need a motion, but I just would like to see from my members if that feels reasonable. And if there are any stakeholders on this call that would like to be heard on this bill and this proposal. All right, it looks like everyone believes that this is a reasonable path forward. All right, I'm seeing head nods. Thank you very much. All right, I said Dr. Kalyana, I see you on the call. Sarah Case Heron, I see you on the call. So thank you all very much. Thank you for your continued good work. And we just want to make sure that we are putting the department and the public in a good place going forward. Thank you, everyone. All right, so we are going to move on to House Bill 1481. This is Disability Services Adapted Vehicle Access Pilot Program established. And this is Delegate Hill's bill. Aaron, if you can talk us through the bill. I don't think this one had, this one did have.
Yeah,
but they were sponsor amendments.
The bill is introduced, establishes the Adapted Vehicle Access Pilot Program in the Maryland Department of Disabilities to provide adapted vehicles to eligible individuals who do not qualify for other programs offered by MDOD that provide access to adapted vehicles. The Department of Disabilities must prioritize individuals who reside in areas with limited access to public transportation and solicit donations of vehicles, vehicle modification, and adaptive services and funds from individuals or public or private corporations to implement the program. The department may apply for, receive, and spend federal funds and grants for the program. And by December 1st, 2028, the department must report to the Governor and General Assembly on the number of recipients of vehicles under the program, how the program has affected recipients' independence, mobility, job opportunities, and dependency on public subsidies, the availability of vehicles, modification and adaptation services and funds, and a recommendation on whether the program should be extended or expanded. And the bill would terminate September 30th, 2023. In your reprint on bill page 2 of the reprint, some of the definitions in the bill have been altered. Adapted vehicle means a motor vehicle that has been modified to be operated by an individual who requires a mobility aid instead of requiring a wheelchair. The donation is defined as the voluntary transfer of property, services, or funds to the program or to an eligible individual. Eligible individual definition is altered to mean an individual who requires a mobility aid, is a licensed driver, and is qualified to drive an adapted vehicle. Further down after line 19, it provides that the department must request, apply for, and facilitate donations of vehicles. And then continuing on to bill page 3, after line 14, there's new language requiring that in reporting the data that's required under the bill, the Department of Disabilities must make reasonable efforts to anonymize the data to protect the privacy of recipients.
Thank you, Erin. And just for my edification, I'm correct in because this is seeking funds and grants that this is budget neutral. Is that correct? All right, thank you so much. Can I get a motion on the amendments, and then we can open up for discussion?
Move the amendments.
All right, thank you. All right, they've been moved and seconded. Is there further discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. Do we have a motion on the bill as amended?
Make a motion to move the bill as amended.
Thank you. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, Delegate Riley.
Sorry, I just wanted to tell Delegate Hill, thank you so much for the bill. My stepfather, who unfortunately just passed last week, but he was paralyzed during a surgery when he was like in his late 40s. And he just passed it at the age of 83. So he was a paraplegic for quite a long time. And he had one of these vehicles. And we had the hardest time to try to find somebody who could actually use the vehicle. So I'm glad this is out there for people to hopefully that, it is marketed well so people know where to go, where, they could donate this, because these vehicles are extremely expensive and even getting repaired. So hopefully these grants will help those people that are in the industry that can repair these and work on these for these disabled, because it really changes their lives to be able to get around and move around after, a devastating accident like that. So thank you so much. I appreciate it. And thank you for indulging my little speech.
Absolutely. Thank you, Delegate Riley, for sharing that. We are very sorry for your loss, and we really appreciate you sharing that with us, because I think sometimes it's important for us to remember the people who are so positively impacted by the things that we do. So Delegate Hill, we have a motion and a second on the bill as amended. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. House Bill 1481 passes unanimously. Thank you, everyone. Did I see? Okay, it looks like, I was going to say, I thought I saw Rebecca from the press, but it looks like she has logged back off. I just want to make sure that she was aware of what we did with 290. All right, so that was unanimous. We are going to now turn to House Bill 1510. This is medical records, notice of destruction method for the members. This is just a reminder that we had the bill hearing this past week, I think, earlier in the week.
Yesterday.
Yes. Oh my gosh, was that yesterday? And this is just closing, closing taking the and to an or. So Erin, if you can talk us through the bill, because we had no amendments, because it's just to tidy up the statute from last year.
So this bill is building upon a bill that was passed by the committee last year and passed the full General Assembly. And it requires that a notice about the destruction of a medical record or laboratory or X-ray report be made by first-class mail or email. Under current law, that notification has to be made by both first-class mail and email.
Thank you. And you will see in your committee testimony that MedChi is in support, and they gave a very valid reason as to why this is an important bill for medical privacy. With that,
Move the
do I
bill.
have a motion on the bill?
Move the bill.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, Mr. Wise, you wanted to be heard on this bill?
No, I'm sorry, I was a little early with that. I just wanted to thank the subcommittee.
You're welcome to thank us at any time. Anyone opposed? Because I think we took all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. Seeing none, it passes unanimously. Mr. Wise, if you want to unmute, feel free.
No, I thank you. This cleans up an issue that was going to create some difficulty, so we appreciate it.
Thank you to the committee.
Absolutely. And thank you to the bill sponsor. That passes unanimously. We are now going to turn to House Bill 1502. This is Baltimore City AIDS Prevention Sterile Needle and Syringe Exchange Pilot Program revisions. Again, I think we heard this yesterday. And again, this is a cleanup bill that we haven't touched this legislation, I believe, in 30 years. So it is a modernization bill. And Erin, if you can walk us through the bill.
This is a bill that is been supported by the Baltimore City delegation. It renames the AIDS Prevention Sterile Needle and Syringe Exchange Pilot Program to be the HIV Prevention Syringe Services Program. It alters program requirements and the composition and responsibilities of the program's oversight committee, the program-related duties of the director and the Baltimore City Health Department, and the data collection and program evaluation processes. The bill also repeals language specifying that program staff and participants are not immune from criminal prosecution for redistributing hypodermic needles or syringes in any form, any activities not authorized or approved by the program, or possessing or distributing controlled paraphernalia or committing other unlawful activity outside of Baltimore City limits. There's also a provision in the bill that goes along with that repealing of the language that would provide that the subtitle does not provide immunity to a program staff member or program participant from criminal prosecution for a violation of any law prohibiting or regulating the use, possession, dispensing, distribution, or promotion of illicit drugs.
Thank you. And we have a letter of support from the Baltimore City delegation.
It has been voted on and approved by the delegation.
And this has been a very successful program for 30 years. So do I have a motion on the bill?
Move the bill. Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Do we have any questions or concerns? All right, seeing none, all in favor say aye. Anyone opposed, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. Thank you very much. That 1502 passes unanimously. All right, we have one more bill, which is House Bill 1208, Public Health, Prohibited Ingredients in Food. This is, I think we heard this last week. This is Delegate Alston's red dye bill, which has been amended to look like the bill that passed in California, if I'm correct. See a nod from Delegate Alston. So Erin, if you can talk us through the bill and the amendments.
Yeah, so you have a reprint of the bill. It has been, as introduced, all of the provisions of the bill have been struck except for one, which is on bill page 3. And this requires that provides that a person may not manufacture, sell, deliver, hold, or offer for sale food in the state that contains brominated vegetable oil, potassium bromate, propylparaben, or red dye number 3. And then it pulls in existing law regarding the penalties that would be required for violations of that provision that I just read. So a person who would violate that provision would be guilty of a misdemeanor on conviction, subject to a fine not exceeding $10,000 or imprisonment not exceeding 1 year or both, or if they've been convicted of violating subtitle 2 of the title, a fine not exceeding $25,000 or imprisonment not exceeding 3 years or both.
Thank you, Erin. And as you recall from the bill hearing, there was opposition to the labeling. That provision has been struck, but we also didn't hear from Maryland retailers because, as Erin reminded me, Kaylee Locklear was signed up, but was unfortunately unwell that day. So let me open it up for discussion because I see a hand from Delegate Chisholm.
Do we have any idea how many products are going to be affected under these 4 ingredients?
And we have a hand from Sarah Price. She might be able to answer that, or the sponsor or our council. So let me go to Sarah first.
I will say I do not have an answer to that question. I just wanted to speak up when appropriate to share our perspective. As you noted, Kaylee was not able to attend. Thanks.
All right, so let me see if I have an answer from council. I also see a hand from Delegate Hill. Is this continuing the conversation? All right, let me go to the bill sponsor first.
I don't think we know how many items are going to be affected, which is why we've given people extra time to get in compliance. And just FYI, the FDA has also banned all of these substances already.
Okay.
Yeah. And last year, when the retailers came out, they indicated when we did the food labeling, the baby food bill, and I think for this bill, they didn't testify, but they indicated that if the FDA did it, they would not have a problem. Now the FDA has done it, and the candy company that did come out last year has still opposed, and so have the retailers, despite the fact that it's going to be federal law. So I'm not sure where this opposition is coming from, but they have definitely changed their tune from last year when they stated that if they wanted to wait for the FDA to do this, and it's already done in California. So
When does the FDA law go into effect, Delegate?
let me check for you. I'll get that answer for you.
Let me go to Delegate Hill and then we can come back to you, Delegate Alston.
Yeah, so I was thinking about ingredients that I see listed on stuff, and I don't remember seeing brominated vegetable oil. So I looked up how is it listed on food products, and it's listed as BVO. And what I'm concerned about is, a regular store seller who might check ingredients and they're not seeing that. And I'm wondering if we could consider a small amendment to add after brominated vegetable oil in parentheses BVO, so the law is clear that's how it would be listed.
I think that's friendly. Sorry.
And let me go to Erin too.
I just want to make one quick comment that I forgot to mention. This would not go into effect until October 1st, 2028.
2028. Okay, thank you. And the BVO, that wouldn't be a.
Well, so this is, if Delegate Hill's point is about labeling, there's no more labeling requirement.
Right.
No, it's actually not a labeling requirement. The
Yeah.
point is that our bill says you can't sell something. You can't have it on
Right.
your shelf. It has
Oh, so just they have a
brominated
better
vegetable oil. So we
idea.
put in parentheses
BVO.
because, so the retailer,
More recognizable.
Yes.
Okay, yes.
Thank you. Let me go to Delegate Alston and then Sarah, I'll come to you, then Ms. Gardner, then to Delegate Chisholm. Wait, where did you go? Delegate Alston. So you
So,
all just moved on my screen. I lost you.
I know, sorry. I took the hand down. So Delegate Chisholm, according to the FDA website, companies have until January 15th for getting their manufacturing together, and January 18th for foods that are ingested. So I'm going to send you the link, but I would say January 18th, 2028 is the FDA date. That looks like the latest out date, and our date is after that.
Yeah, I just want to make sure I understood Aaron. Aaron said October of 2028, correct?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, thank you.
And so this does align us with the federal guidance as well, but would also make sure that our at the state level, we are identifying and notifying our Maryland consumers. All right, let me go to Ms. Price.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I do want to note that our opposition to this is not just arbitrary. It's true that we would always prefer the federal government to be able to make these decisions, and it's true that they are moving forward with doing so. And that is exactly why we are opposing the measure in Maryland, because we don't want to create a patchwork underneath the federal, like a statewide patchwork underneath the federal government's ruling. And we would prefer that we just maintain the FDA's decisions as the standard that our members should have to look to, as opposed to having the FDA, but also, by the way, here's this subset of Maryland rules that say the same thing, but maybe at some point that might not. So that's where we're coming from on our continued opposition.
And we appreciate that. I do believe, though, that this committee, particularly in this session and in light of some uncertainty coming from the federal government, is actually decoupling a lot of our statutes, because we want to make sure that Marylanders have certainty going forward, regardless of the uncertainty coming from Washington. So I appreciate that continues to be your position. Our committee may go a different direction. Let me go to Delegate Martinez, and then I'll come back to you, Ms. Gardner.
I just want to make sure I'm clear in the process. I know Aaron read off the amendments. Did we move them already?
We have not. We've just been in discussion. So thank you.
Okay.
Do
Could I
you-
make
do
a
you-
motion to move the
Did
amendments?
you want to move the amendments? Okay.
The friendly amendment from Delegate Hill on the technical.
All right, they've been moved. Do we have a second?
Second.
All right, they've been moved and seconded. We're continuing discussion. Let me go to Ms. Gardner.
Thank you, Delegate Bagnell, and appreciate the conversation today, and as well as the proposed amendment to remove the supplemental labeling requirements to the legislation. I think that is a substantive improvement. Just to clarify some of the information shared, so 2 of the 4 additives that are referenced are under consideration by the FDA, but have not yet been revoked. So it's just brominated vegetable oil and red dye 3 that have been revoked from the FDA. And so the effective date for food for red dye 3 is January 15th, 2027. And the effective date for brominated vegetable oil is, check my notes, August 2nd, 2025. So just to put out just some of those clarification factors. And I would say, to your point, Delegate Bagnell, certainly the federal government is unpredictable, but what we have seen at this point is very much a bipartisan approach to addressing food and color additives. So it's our perspective that we still believe that FDA is the rightful decision maker there. And just this Monday, we saw them come out and say that they were going to promulgate rules from the FDA to address the generally recognized as safe program that would provide additional transparency as ingredients are approved and go to market. So appreciate consideration, folks.
And Ms. Gardner, do you had mentioned that potassium bromate and propylparaben are both under consideration.
Correct.
Do we know where they are in that timeline? Because this committee has made decisions before, and then the feds have followed suit. So Maryland is not adverse to being a leader in this space, but it would be helpful to understand where they are in that process.
Yeah, certainly appreciate the question. It is not known where they are in the process, but I would say because they are on the active list to be evaluated, that puts them higher up than, say, another additive that has not yet been under review. So as FDA looks to move forward, we would expect for additives that are already under their review to have sort of a heightened process with respect to other additives under consideration. And happy to share that link of the additives under review too, if helpful.
Thank you. I appreciate that. And I will just point out to the body, since we are already in discussion on the amendments, that should the federal government make a different decision, we still have, this bill still speaks to 2028. So it's not an immediate effective date. So we are on the amendments. Is there further discussion on the amendments? Seeing none, all in favor of the amendment, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. Do we have a motion on this bill?
Move the bill as amended.
Second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any further discussion on the bill as amended? Seeing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed, go ahead and raise your hand in the chat. This is opposed or a question?
Yeah, just opposed, so I'll remember to talk about it in full committee.
Absolutely. All right, I've got Chisholm, Riley. All right, so that bill passes not unanimously. This concludes our work for Public Health and Minority Health Disparities Subcommittee. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Thank you for the discussion. We really do appreciate it. It helps us do our work and makes us better. Delegate Riley, did you have oh, nope, your hand's back down. Stay tuned. I don't know if there's anything else coming out, but thank you all so much for your diligent work. I'm very, very proud of the work coming out of this subcommittee, and I just want to thank you all. And we will revisit the work group for House Bill 290 following crossover. With that, we are adjourned, and I will see you all in other subcommittees and at our voting session.
Hi, I had a quick question. Did you guys already discuss 1510? Was that in this work group?
It was, and it passed unanimously.